second graders, we are going to be writing a brand new genre of our writing. And so this genre is called realistic fiction. When we think about realistic fiction is a fictional story, so it's something that did not happen, but a realistic fiction means it's something that could happen. So we're thinking about what's a fake story that could happen in real life. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you can learn to plan your realistic fiction story. I'm going to show you two different strategies, and so as we're thinking about how you're planning, I want you to think, what is something that could happen to you in real life? So while we're writing and planning our stories, you can have your how to write realistic fiction story planning sheet next to you, so it can give you some ideas around how you can think through what's going to happen in your story. What I'm also going to introduce to you is something called a story map. A story map is a way that we can get all of our ideas into one place, so when we're writing, we know what we're going to be writing, and we just have to figure out how we're going to put it on the paper. So let's see what those look like. When you pull out your how to write realistic fiction anchor chart, you'll notice that the first step is think. We want to think about our characters, we want to think about our setting, we want to think about the problem and the solution that's going to happen in the story, and we want to learn a lesson from this story. So think about, what could you do to help yourself write this story? Who is going to be in your story? Where are they going to be? And what's going to be the problem that they can solve? Remember, a realistic fiction story is something that can happen in real life. So I'm going to have humans talking, not animals, because animals can't talk in real life. So thinking about how are you going to think through what's going to make the best realistic fiction story for you. I'm also going to introduce to you a planning sheet. So this story map has those same things that we want to think about before we start writing. So we want to think, who are our characters going to be? Where's the setting? What are they going to be doing? What do they want? And then as we get into the story, we want to think about, what is the problem? We want to think about, how is the problem solved? And how does the story end? What lesson did your characters learn? So as we're thinking through all of those, I want you to think, how can you think of your own realistic fiction story? And one tip that I have is, if you're having a hard time thinking through what could be in your realistic fiction story, think about something that has happened to you in real life. Maybe at home, maybe at school, maybe at the grocery store, and think, how can you change that so it's not something that happened to you, but something that could happen to someone else. Let's get started. So the first thing that I want to do with my story map is I want to think about who's going to be in my story. So because I want to make sure that this is a realistic fiction story, I'm going to think, what could a problem be, and who could have that problem? So, if I'm introducing my characters, one story that I could write about is about a brother and sister. So I can just write down brother and sister. And then I could name them if I already know what I want to name them. But if I'm not sure, I can hold off on that. Remember, this is a planning sheet, so we can add and change to it. I think I'm going to call the brother Will, and I'm going to call the sister Annie. Okay. I think my setting, remember the setting is where your story is going to take place. I think my setting is going to be at their house. So I'm going to write at home, because I know that's a place that a lot of brothers and sisters have problems at, where they need to solve them. What are they doing? I think they're going to be playing together. I think they're going to be playing with toys. They are playing with toys together. Alrighty. Now I need to think, what's the problem? And the first problem that I'm thinking about, if they're playing with toys at home, it could be that they want the same toy. So I'm going to say they want to play with the same toy. Okay. And then, how could the problem be solved? They could decide to take turns. That's a way that they could solve their problem. They decide to take turns. And how does the story end? What lesson did the characters learn? I think for my lesson, they're going to learn that it's always kind to share. It is always kind to share. And maybe it ends by them offering each other a snack. Sounds like something that could happen in real life. They offer each other a snack. So now I have my story planned out and I know kind of what I'm going to be writing in my story. So now my next job, friends, is to get out my booklet and I want to think, what am I going to be doing? So I want you to think, what is your book going to look like? So we have our 5-page booklets. And remember, if you need more pages, you are always more than welcome to go to one of your other booklets. So I'm going to think. Now, my second step of my thinking process is to plan. So I need to decide, how am I going to plan my story? I've already got my story map, so I've already done the thinking and kind of wrote it down, so I'm going to remember it. Now I need to think, am I going to tell across my fingers? Can I touch and tell, sketch and jot, and act out? I think that I'm going to tell across my fingers, and then I'm going to sketch and jot. So let's see. I know that my characters are at home. So maybe on the first page, I have them playing together. I kind of describe maybe outside, and that they're at home and playing together. On the second page, okay, so I introduce my characters and what they're doing. And then on the second page, I'm gonna have them fight. I'm gonna have one of them, maybe the brother goes to play with a toy and the sister says, no, I wanna play with that one. And then on the third page, maybe they argue. Maybe they argue about whose turn it is to play. And then maybe on the fourth page, maybe on the fourth page, they work on solving the problem. And so they take a deep breath and then they solve their problem. And then on the last page, they learn a lesson and then they offer each other a snack. So I planned across 5 fingers. So now I need to think, how can I do that and move it to my book? Because I might not get to write my whole story today and I don't want to forget what I just said. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch and jot across my pages. So on my first page, let's see, I said I was going to introduce my characters. So remember, you can either sketch a picture or you can jot some words. So if I jot some words, maybe I write Will, Annie, anything that's going to remind me of what I was writing. So I'm going to write Will and Annie, and if I write toys, that'll help me. Okay. On the second page, I said I was going to have them fight. Fight or argue. Oh wait, no, that's not what I said. Do you see it's so important to think through what you want to say and plan it out and then write it down. So I said on this one, Annie was going to get a toy. Annie tries to take toy. Away from Will. And I can change this again, remember, friends. This isn't my final published copy, so I can change it whenever I want to. So on this page, they were going to fight and argue. On this page, 4th page, they were going to take a deep breath. And on page 5, they were going to get a snack. So friends, that's a way you can jot down quick words to remind you of what you want to write down. If I wanted to sketch across the pages, I could have also done that. So I want you to think, how are you going to plan your story? If you're successful, you will be able to think through your story, think through the characters, the setting, the problem and solution, and the lesson that they're going to learn. And you'll be able to kind of move it into a book so you can get started with writing for next time. Good luck!